question.
Yes, sir, it is. Shall I read it?
Yeah, I'll let you. You can either read it or take it or both.
Is the mask mandate going to continue on Edwards Air Force Base when LA County and Kern County don't follow the mask mandate?
So I would love, so one of the things I like about this town hall format, Chief, is that we are in a reliable place at a reliable time on a reliable day, every duty day, Friday at 1300, for people to show up and ask questions that they have. One of the disappointing things about it being virtual is that if somebody were to, and this is a literal thing that happened to me last night. I was waiting for my pizza or to pick up pizza at Domino's, and somebody there in civilian attire came up to me and said, basically, not the exact same question, but a similar question, like, sir, how long do you anticipate we're going to be in masks? And it allowed me to have a dialogue with that person. And to whoever asked this question, I would love to have a dialogue with you on this topic. So the mandate and the source of the mandate, that is, I guess, a potential for Kern County, LA County, and there's a third one that we are in, and that's San Bernardino County, are different sources. So the source of the mandate requirement is not my decision. It's a Department of Defense policy that is signed out by the SecDef or one of the undersecretaries of defense that says, very plain English, when the local community, i.e. the county COVID level is high, masks are required. Period, dot, end of story, indoors, right? There are exceptions to that, and the exceptions are published in that same guidance. It hangs on our installation command directive. I think it's ICD 19, don't quote me on that number, but it is hanging. You can get it through your unit control center, and that applies to all mission partners too, not just 412 Test Wing units. It is around and available. You can also Google that, mask mandate DOD. It was updated in early 2022. So the policy directive that applies on all military installations, not just Edwards, is that when your local community COVID risk is high, it's masks. Done. Over. End of discussion. That's the rule. It's a legal order, and we follow lawful legal orders for those appointed over us. It's in our oath. It's what we do in the military, and it's what we do on military installations. So it is, now let's talk to the counties and their mask mandates, or lack thereof. I'm interested in, and I'm informed by what LA County, Kern County, and San Bernardino County choose to do, but in no way, shape, or form am I bound by it. And I challenge anyone to go do the research and look at the times when there's been a mismatch between what especially LA County is requiring of folks and what we required of folks at Edwards, where I had discretion. Challenge you to come up with more than a couple fingers full of times where on base we were more restrictive, where I had a choice, than LA County was in the last 2.5 years. I think that number is very, very, very small, and where I get opportunities, and our numbers and our data support it, I tend to give us the benefit of the doubt here because of our population density being very low, good airflow. We have people that comply with rules overall more so than in a lot of the outside the gate communities and things like that. So I think the question is interesting, and I'd love to have a dialogue, but it's a mismatch of a couple things. The fact that the counties are politically choosing to ignore CDC and California Department of Health guidance, right? And that's a political decision the counties are making. And the fact that the Department of Defense has mandated that inside, on base, when the community COVID level is high, you must wear a mask. Those are not the same thing. So to conflate the two is missing the topic and really missing the point behind the policies for both. So
and I would note too, sir, or note as well that on the app, when you click on the HP Con, it takes you to the ICD, and then it also has the references listed at the top that are hyperlinked to talk through some of those mandates and some of the supporting guidance that we use when you're making those decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you, one of the things that's really great about what's there, and it's been at the same URL, right? It's on the app. It's also on the edwards.af.mil/coronavirus page. And you can hyperlink to there. If you find anything that's outdated or something that you have a question on, let us know. 707-412-8922 is a great place to let us know if you see something that's a little off or that we could update. It's been a very consistent location to get the information. It's also, I think we believe, holistic in do I wear a mask indoors 100% of the time I am indoors on the base? You know what, Chief? I don't. And you know when I don't wear my mask, when a mask mandate is required? I don't wear it in the times where the mask policy says you don't have to wear a mask in these circumstances. And I think that list is pretty mature right now. So for example, Chief and I both live on base. You know, when I'm home and I'm in my residence, that's inside on a military installation, but I don't wear my mask when I'm at home, right? I also drink. So in this studio today, I've had a drink of water, and I didn't drink through my orange. I wonder how that would taste, but I'm not going to try. And I also eat, right? Sometimes I'll eat at my desk. There are other reasons why and other ages and places and things that we comply with, but knowing the details of the policy there are super important. And if you have any question on what those policies are, let me know. Another thing that I want to foot stomp real quick, since the person brought it up, is that not all masks are the same. I encourage you to go back. It was, I want to say 3 weeks ago, where we went through the history of masks real fast, right? So I don't have them with me today, unfortunately. I thought they were great visual aids, but ICD 19 requires you to wear a mask that has real value, not that some masks have no value, but masks that have real value. So you'll note the ones that Chief and I are wearing right now are both KN95s. It's 95, not KN 100, which I think you pointed out in a forum recently, in that it's not perfect, but it is really good. If you don't have access to a KN 95 or equivalent, a surgical mask is an appropriate substitute. I think they're not as durable, and they're certainly not as protective for the wearer as a KN 95 or equivalent. But those are the only two that comply with the on Edwards Air Force Base requirement, and that was my decision. Because the prior cloth ones, they don't fit well enough. It's now aerosolized. The virus is aerosolized enough that it's going to escape anyway. The ones that you can see through are an actual joke. Balaclavas that are synthetic in nature and very thin also have very limited value, and they're basically just having something over your face to minimally comply with the rule, but not complying with the intent of the rule. And so that's just, we're better than that. And this to me is, at its core, a risk to mission issue now. And the risk to mission is risk to losing a member of our community's contributions for a period of up to 10 days, and maybe more if they have a severe case of COVID. So it's a risk to mission in a risk to person thing that we're trying to prevent. We wear KN95s to prevent inhalation risk. If you are wearing the surgical mask, your inhalation protection is your exhalation catch is probably pretty good, and the exhalation catch is really good for KN95s. And I can riff on this for a long time, as any of you that have been to these broadcasts or know me on. Let me give you one last piece of data on COVID and mask wear. The most infectious disease, I think is the right term, prior to COVID, known to man, is measles. It has an R0 ratio of 18. And what that means is, in a population with no immunity, so folks that haven't been vaccinated or haven't previously recovered from measles, that every one person that gets measles, 18 more will get infected, and then those 18 will infect 18 more, and it will go asymptotic, geometric really fast. That is the most contagious thing prior to COVID that we had experienced as humans. Early COVID was like a 2.5, maybe 3 to 1 ratio. Delta got into the 6-ish range, 6 to 1. Early Omicron, and some data sets was 20. Other data sets were in the mid-teens. We're thinking it was probably a little less than 18. But the current variant, BA4, BA5 of Omicron, is between 18 and 19 are not value. So it is as or more infectious than the most contagious and infectious thing that humankind has dealt with as an enemy. And that's why fighting this virus remains one of our combat fronts in war every day. And this is a super simple way to fight that risk to mission and fight that enemy. Just like putting on your seatbelt, just like not driving when you're drunk, just like looking both ways before you cross the street, just like wearing light reflective gear when you're outside walking or running at night. And I can go on and on and on about the relatively common sense and very trivially invasive things that you do to protect you and reduce risk to you, and by extrapolation to the mission because of the contributions you make to our mission. And a good quality mask, a KN95 or equivalent, is just one of those things. So there's my update on that question.